Chapter 8, Understanding the Basics. Arjuna asked the Supreme Lord about some fundamental concepts. What is Brahmin? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material world? And who are the demigods? In response, Lord Krishna explained various aspects, starting with Brahmin. Lord Krishna clarified that Brahmin, Paramatma, and Bhagavan refer to different aspects of the divine. The living entity, or Jivatma, and the Supreme Absolute Truth, Parambrahman, are both termed as Brahmin. Arjuna also inquired about Atma, encompassing the body, soul, and mind. Arjuna addressed Krishna as Purushottama, recognizing him not just as a friend but as the supreme authority. He questioned the Lord about the controller of sacrifices, how the Lord resides within the body, and how devotees can remember him at the time of death. Arjuna's concerns might seem unnecessary for a devoted soul, but they reflect common doubts. He wanted to know the state of those devoted to Krishna consciousness at the time of death, a critical moment when one's faith is tested. Lord Krishna responded by explaining that the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahmin, and its eternal nature is Adhyatma, the self. Fruitive activities related to developing material bodies are called karma. Brahmin is unchanging, while Parabrahman refers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In material consciousness, the living entity identifies with matter, striving to be the master. In spiritual consciousness, in Krishna consciousness, the entity serves the Supreme. The living entity goes through various bodies in material consciousness but has only one spiritual body. The process of karma involves taking different forms based on actions. Krishna-conscious individuals bypass traditional sacrifices, directly embracing devotion to return to Godhead. The chapter emphasizes understanding the basics of spiritual and material existence, highlighting the importance of Krishna consciousness. Easy explanation: changing your state of being. Krishna explains different aspects of existence. The physical world, always changing, is called Adhibhuta. The universal form, including demigods, is Adhideva. Krishna, as the supersoul in every heart, is Adhyajna. Physical nature, Adhibhuta, goes through stages: birth, growth, duration, byproducts, dwindling, and vanishing. The universal form, Adhideva, includes all demigods. Krishna, as Adhyajna, is the supersoul within. Krishna emphasizes that the supersoul is not different from him. The supersoul witnesses our actions, giving us freedom. Devotees in Krishna consciousness understand these aspects. Newcomers may contemplate the universal form, connecting elements like planets and the sun. Krishna urges remembering him at life's end. Dying in Krishna consciousness transfers one to his nature. Being Krishna conscious means being pure. Remembrance of Krishna is crucial, starting early in life. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra helps. Lord Chaitanya advises tolerance amidst challenges. In summary, one attains the state of being they remember at death. Remembering Krishna leads to a transcendental state, unlike remembering anything else. Maharaja Bharata remembered a deer and became one in the next life. Thoughts during life influence thoughts at death. Living in goodness and remembering Krishna helps transcend to his nature. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is the best way to change one's state at life's end. Krishna advises Arjuna to think of him as Krishna while doing his duties. By dedicating actions and keeping the mind on Krishna, one can attain him without a doubt. This guidance is vital for everyone busy in daily life. Krishna doesn't say to quit duties, instead, he suggests doing them while thinking of Krishna. Chanting Hare Krishna helps free the mind from material concerns, leading to Krishna's realm. Krishna emphasizes remembering him. Chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare and Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, engages the ear, tongue, and mind. This simple practice purifies and connects one to Krishna. Krishna compares this to yoga, a practice focusing on the supersoul within. Chanting Hare Krishna helps keep the mind fixed on Krishna, overcoming its fickleness. Like a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, constant thoughts of Krishna transform one's spiritual state. In another verse, Krishna describes himself. He is a person, knows everything, is the oldest, the controller, smaller than the smallest, the maintainer, beyond material conception, inconceivable, and always a person. He's luminous, like the sun, and transcendental. Thinking of Krishna is easy compared to contemplating something impersonal. Krishna, as a person, can be meditated upon effortlessly. He is the supreme controller, knows past, present, and future, and maintains everything. Despite being smaller than the smallest, he pervades and sustains the entire universe. His energy is inconceivable, beyond our understanding. Krishna advises accepting scriptural teachings, avoiding unnecessary arguments. Understanding Krishna through scripture will lead to wisdom. In this verse, it's explained that at the time of death, one should focus the mind on the Supreme Lord, Krishna. For those skilled in yoga, a specific technique called Nao Yoga is suggested. However, for those engaged in constant Krishna consciousness, remembering Krishna at the end is effortless. The verse mentioned celibacy and Nao Yoga practices, which were traditional methods for spiritual seekers in ancient times. However, due to the changed social structure, these practices are not practical today. Lord Chaitanya has emphasized chanting the Hare Krishna mantra as the most effective practice in this age. The verse describes closing the doors of sense enjoyment and concentrating the mind on the supersoul within. While this is a valid yoga practice, it might be challenging in the present era. Therefore, the verse underscores the simplicity and effectiveness of Krishna consciousness. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is recommended for this age. If one consistently chants this mantra, remembering Krishna, they can attain spiritual planets at the time of death. The verse emphasizes that Krishna and the sound vibration of his name are identical. In the final verses, the focus is on pure devotion to Krishna. A devotee desires nothing but Krishna's pleasure. The verse assures that for such a devotee, attaining Krishna is easy. Krishna is especially inclined toward those who serve him without deviation, helping them in various ways. The verse concludes that a pure devotee is always thinking of Krishna without interruption. Such a devotee can create a spiritual atmosphere anywhere. The devotee's constant remembrance of Krishna and Krishna's reciprocal care make the process of chanting the Hare Krishna mantra exceptionally potent. This verse explains that those who reach the highest perfection in devotion, Krishna consciousness, do not return to the cycle of birth and death in this temporary world full of miseries. They attain the supreme planet, Karnayaloka, or Goloka Vandavana, and have no desire to come back. The material world, from the highest to the lowest planets, is described as places of misery where birth and death are repeated. However, those who reach Krishna's abode never take birth again. The verse emphasizes that all kinds of yogis, whether following the paths of karma, jnana, hauha, etc., eventually need to attain Krishna in devotional perfection before reaching his transcendental abode. Even those who attain the higher material planets, like the demigods, are subjected to repeated birth and death. The verse explains that progressing in Krishna consciousness on higher planets elevates one to even higher realms. During universal devastation, those devoted to Krishna are transferred to the eternal spiritual kingdom. In essence, the verse highlights the importance of Krishna consciousness in achieving the highest perfection and escaping the cycle of material suffering. This verse delves into the vastness of cosmic time and describes the duration of Brahma's day and night. A day of Brahma consists of 1,000 cycles of 4 yugas, Satya, Treta, Dvapara, and Kali. The material universe undergoes cycles of creation and annihilation during these yugas. Kali Yuga, the current age characterized by strife and ignorance, lasts for 432,000 years. At the end of Kali Yuga, Lord Kalki appears to restore virtue. This cycle repeats 1,000 times, constituting 1 day and 1 night of Brahma. Brahma's life lasts for 100 of his years, totaling 311 trillion and 40 billion Earth years. Despite its seeming vastness, this duration is minuscule from the perspective of eternity. Brahma and his creation are part of the material universe, subject to birth, old age, disease, and death. Brahma, engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord, attains liberation at the end of his life. Even elevated sannyasis reach Brahmaloka, the highest material planet, but they, too, are subject to death. The verse illustrates the cyclical nature of creation and annihilation, emphasizing the impermanence of material existence. Intelligent individuals practicing Krishna consciousness use their human life for devotional service, transcending the cycle of rebirth. Additionally, the verse introduces the concept of an unmanifest eternal nature, Krishna's superior spiritual energy, which remains unaffected by the material world's changes. The supreme abode of Lord Krishna, Goloka Vrindavan, is described as a place of bliss and beauty, surpassing all material realms. The ultimate destination for those devoted to unalloyed bhakti is Krishna's abode, from which there is no return. The verse concludes by highlighting the eternal and transcendental nature of Krishna's superior energy, which stands in stark contrast to the ever-changing material world. Lord Krishna explains the different times at which a yogi may or may not come back to the cycle of birth and death. Unalloyed devotees, who have completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, do not worry about when or how they leave their bodies. They trust everything to Krishna and happily return to Godhead. For those who practice methods such as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Hatha Yoga, the circumstances of leaving the body are crucial in determining whether they will be subject to rebirth. If a yogi is perfect, they can choose the time and situation for departing from this world. However, if a yogi is not so expert, the success of not returning to the material world depends on accidentally passing away at a suitable time. The Lord then explains that those who know the Supreme Brahmin and want to attain it should pass away from this world during specific favorable conditions. The mentioned conditions include: influence of the fiery god, Agni refers to the period when the sun is in the northern hemisphere. In the light, signifies the daytime. Auspicious moment of the day, there are specific times in a day considered auspicious for departure. Fortnight of the waxing moon, Shukla Paksha, this is the bright lunar fortnight. During the 6 months when the sun travels in the north, Uttarayana refers to the period when the sun is in the northern solstice. These conditions are associated with specific presiding deities who facilitate the passage of the soul. The verse suggests that leaving the body during these auspicious times increases the likelihood of attaining the impersonal Brahmin, the spiritual effulgence. However, Lord Krishna emphasizes that for pure devotees in Krishna consciousness, there is no fear of returning, regardless of the circumstances of leaving the body. Pure devotees are beyond the influence of time and space, and their ultimate destination is Krishna's eternal abode. The 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, titled Attaining the Supreme, is concluded with essential teachings on the impermanence of the material world and the path to transcendence through devotional service. Arjuna initiates the discourse by seeking clarification from Lord Krishna regarding the true essence of renunciation and the renounced order of life, sannyasa. Krishna elucidates that genuine renunciation involves not only abstaining from activities but renouncing the desire for their outcomes. The key, according to Krishna, lies in dedicating all actions to the Supreme with unwavering devotion. The chapter further unfolds with Krishna detailing the process of meditation, emphasizing how a yogi, by directing the mind toward the Supreme, can attain liberation. Krishna introduces the eternal spiritual realm, explaining that those who reach it are liberated from the cycle of birth and death, never to return. The significance of the timing of death is also discussed, with Krishna highlighting how departing during specific favorable conditions can influence the soul's destination. However, Krishna assures that devotees firmly established in Krishna consciousness remain undisturbed by these conditions. In the concluding verses, the chapter underscores the potency of devotional service and its efficacy in attaining the Supreme. Lord Krishna asserts that, by engaging in devotional service, practitioners can surpass all other paths and achieve the highest perfection, ultimately reaching the spiritual abode of the Supreme Lord. These teachings offer profound insights into the nature of reality, stress the importance of selfless action, and illuminate the transformative power of devotion on the journey to ultimate liberation.